Ahmet Adnan Saygun, Türk Beşleri diye bilinen kıvancımız besteci ve öğretmenlerden biri. Çok sayıda dünya çapında öğrenciler de yetiştirdi. Bu güzel salona da onun adı verilmiş. Gündeme geldikçe size hayatı ve eserleri hakkında da bilgiler vereceğiz. Bu hafta İzmir'deyiz. Ülkemizin seçkin orkestralarından İzmir Devlet Senfoni Orkestrası'na konuk oluyoruz. Orkestra bu hafta konserlerde sıkça yer almayan farklı bir enstrümana eşlik ediyor. Dünyaca ünlü saksafon sanatçısı Daniel Schnyder'ın besteci ve solist olarak yer aldığı konserde orkestra Daniel Schnyder'ın oryantal ezgilerle süslediği eserlerini seslendirecek. Orkestrayı Airat Ichmouratov yönetiyor.
I am a composer and conductor. Was born in Russia, and for last 20 years I live in Canada in Montreal. I studied music in Russia, in Kazan. I'm from Kazan. It's the capital of Tatarstan Republic. It's actually Tatarstan. It's very close in relation with Turkey, because Tatar language is a Turk origin, and I'm very happy to be here because I recognize a lot of words, and this is my mother language. It's a very big pleasure. Anyway, so last 20 years I live in Montreal. I studied there composition and clarinet and orchestra conducting at the University of Montreal. So for the last 20 years I work as a composer and conductor in Montreal. I actually been several times, but mostly as a tourist. I went to Istanbul. I really enjoyed Istanbul. It's a fantastic city. But I'm very first time in Izmir, and I'm very first time working with an orchestra as a conductor. And it's, I can say it's a marvelous experience for me. I'm very happy. It's very exotic. It's very interesting, very exciting, and we have a wonderful program. With Daniel Schnyder, who is a fantastic, extraordinary saxophone player and composer. So it's our first collaboration with Daniel, and I'm very happy and honored to meet such a great composer, a great musician. It's always a pleasure. Let's say we have fusion of their folk music, jazz music, original compositions, surrounded by classic musicians, which is a very unique combination. It's very interesting. We're going to have some, let's say at the beginning we're going to perform Dvorak Slavonic Dance No. 1, which is a great classic standard. It's a music by Dvorak. It's a Czech origin. And then also we're going to hear Brahms' Hungarian dance in the middle of the program, which is also big classic standards. Everyone knows that. This music also comes from folk, like the Slavonic dances and Hungarian dances. It's a folk music. Then we have a music by Daniel Schnyder. And as I told, it's a unique mixture of Arab and Turkish and original melodies composed by him, influenced by jazz, like with jazz and folk and classic, and we can hear Bach, we can hear influences by great jazz standards. It's all together. So it's a really amazing mixture of all this. It's kind of big soup all together mixed, but played by classic orchestra. Isn't that amazing? So this is what it's going to be a fun program. First of all, it's very enjoyable, very accessible. It's very understandable, and it's great music that's You know, at the end you're gonna have, wow, that's and of course Daniel is a magnificent musician. It's a big honor for us to have him here with us.
Bu hafta saksafon ve marimba için düzenlenmiş eserlerin yanı sıra orkestra konser programında klasik müzik repertuarının sevilen eserleri Brahms'ın Macar Dansı ve Dvorak'ın 1 numaralı Slav Dansı'na da yer vermiş. Sanki ezgilerin, armonilerin üzerinde sürdürüyoruz hayatı. Bilmediğimiz, tanımadığımız bir ezgi duyuyor bir gün, kendimizden geçiyoruz. O güne dek hiç aklımıza bile gelmeyen hayaller kuruyoruz. Böyle anları yaşamayan yokmuş gibi geliyor insana. Armonilerde çeşitliliği yaşıyoruz. O değişik çalgıların birlikteyken, ayrı söylemler içindeyken bile birbirini dinleyerek değişik sesler çıkarsalar da birbirlerine olan saygısını görüyoruz. Çiçekler gibi rengarenk milyarlarca insanı görüyor, umutlanıyoruz.
Ben 9 Eylül Devlet Konservatuarı Vurmalı Çalgılar bölümünü bitirdim üniversitede. 2010 yılında da yüksek lisansımı orada tamamladım. Aslında klasik müzik orkestra sanatçısı olarak yetiştik. Yani Vurmalı Çalgılar bölümünden mezunum. Ama çocukluğumdan itibaren, yani konservatuvara başladığım yıllardan itibaren hep klavyeli olan vurmalı çalgıları daha çok seviyordum. İşte silefonla başladık biliyorsunuz. Sonra üniversitede marimbayla daha fazla vakit geçirmeye başladım. Marimba aslında virtüözite gerektiren bir enstrüman. Yani eğer branşlaşma olsa, ülkemizde de branşlaşmalar olursa, marimba başlı başına bir piyano gibi, işte yan flüt gibi aslında solistik bir enstrüman. Daniel Schnyder'la aslında 2016 yılında ben Zürih Festivali'nde bir konser yapmak üzere davet edilmiştim. Aslında solo timpani çalacaktım bir eserde. O proje esnasında tanıştık Daniel Schnyder'la. 4 tane İsviçreli bestecinin eserlerinin premierini gerçekleştirdik o orkestrayla. Eserlerden biri Daniel'ın eseriydi ve ben o sırada çok etkilenmiştim aslında Daniel'ın müziğinden. Mehmet M. Portas diye sanıyorum eserin adı. Biraz bizim ezgilerimizin de yer aldığı enteresan bir eserdi. Ama tabii yani marimba çalmamıştım o konserde, yani işte timpani, vurmalı çalgılar. Daha sonra tanıştık, o eserleri olduğunu söyledi bana. Daniel Schnyder marimba için yazmış olduğu eserler. Sonra kayıtlarımı dinledi galiba. O şekilde çalışmaya başladık. Yani proje üzerine düşünmeye, işte saksafon ve marimba enteresan geldi. Aslında bazı saksafon ve marimba için çalışmalar da var dünyada. Bazı eserlere baktık, bu şekilde devam etti. Geçtiğimiz yaz ben Zürih'te bir resital için gitmiştim. O sırada Daniel telefon etti bana ve bu projeden bahsetti. Türkiye-İsviçre Dostluk Haftası olduğunu söyledi. Güzel bir oldu, karışım oldu ve ben de heyecan duydum. Böylelikle başladık.
Müzik, sıkıntıların sonu, mutlu, keyifli anların başlangıcıdır. Müzik iyileştirir. Müzik birleştirir. Müzik, kimi ayrı olduğumuzu düşündüğümüz duygularda buluşmamızı, anlaşmamızı sağlar. Solist sanatçı Daniel Schnyder bir caz sanatçısı aslen. Dilimizde saksafon diye anons edilen bu nefesli çalgı, orijinal dilinde saksofon olarak söyleniyor. İki söylenişinin de geçerli olduğu bilgileri var elimizde. 1840 yılında Adolf Sax tarafından tasarlanmış ve müzik dünyasına kazandırılmış. Alto, tenor, soprano ve bariton saksafonlar var. Ses aralıkları da farklı farklı. Orkestra ve saksafon için yazdığı bu eseri, içeriğini, yapısını bestecinin kendi anlatımından öğrenelim biraz.
About myself, the interesting thing about me is that I'm originally Swiss. I grew up in Switzerland, and then I studied in the United States at the Berklee College of Music in Boston. That was in the early 80s, and then I returned to Switzerland and studied classical music, classical flute, and then decided when I was about 25 to move to Germany. I lived there for a couple of years, and then I went over to the United States, and since 1992, I live in New York, and I did all kinds of projects that combine jazz music with classical music, or pure classical music, opera, oratorio, but also a lot of ethnic music, or music that combines ethnic music with a classical symphony orchestra. And I had the chance in New York to work together with great musicians from Africa, from China, but also from the Arab countries, most especially Lebanon. And I toured there, I played in Jordan, in Lebanon, and for me this is a fascinating world and of sounds, of different ideas that are really different from European ideas, and now I'm trying to combine these two worlds, or three worlds, you know, the American world, the European world, and the Oriental world. Well, it's something, you know, when I was about 14 years old, I heard jazz on the radio because at home we didn't have any jazz. I was just playing cello, classical cello, and we had a little trio with my father and my sister and played chamber music, but I never improvised at that time. And then I heard the music at the radio and I thought, okay, I want to play that too. And I went to the music shop to buy the music. And then they said, no, there's no music there. You have to actually improvise. This is improvised music. And I was very fascinated by that idea, and then switched over to saxophone and started to play the saxophone and started to try to improvise. And then I tried to write down what I was improvising. So that's how I combined improvisation with composition and with classical music and jazz, and it just was a very natural thing that happened to me. You know, this interest into improvised music, and then interest into writing it down again and starting to compose. And yes, I mean that happened when I was a teenager, and yeah, early on. And then I had my own big band. I had my symphony orchestra at the school where I wrote pieces for, and then I combined symphony orchestra with big band. And so it was for me a very natural thing to combine these worlds. Most of this music was created in around 2002, 2003 and 2004. for Bremen Music Festival with Christian Järvi, the conductor. He had an ensemble where I was composer in residence, kind of. That ensemble was called Absolute Ensemble. And it was an American group, a New York-based group that was very flexible. They could play jazz-oriented music, ethnic music, but also modern classical music, avant-garde music. So we designed the whole program for the Bremen Music Festival focusing on Oriental music, and we invited famous Arab musician. What happened then was that these Arab musicians came and played with us, and that created a very special atmosphere. And I was always totally interested in this combination of sounds and combination of mentalities and different ways of playing music. I play also mostly tenor and soprano saxophone, and I also play flute. But for this program, the soprano saxophone is very, very good because it has an oriental flavor already, and you can actually, since the sound is so flexible, I can change to different types of sound inside the same music. From one bar to the other bar, I can play in a completely different way that's more relating to Oriental music, and then I can go back and play in a classical way. It's a very flexible instrument, and I like that very much about the soprano saxophone. The tenor saxophone is more like a jazz instrument. It's really jazz, so that music would not work that well on a tenor saxophone. It's a little bit a special instrument, but a very flexible one, and a very, in my opinion, very beautiful one, because it has a lot of power and it can cut through the orchestra. This is a little bit of a problem sometimes if I play a flute and you have the full instrumentation as we have it now, and the whole orchestra is playing together with the soloist. Usually the soloist disappears a little bit, but with the soprano saxophone the instrument is so strong that it actually cuts through. The Darabuka, sure, I played a lot of concerts and I used it. I mean, it's written in the music, Darabuka, it's in the score. I wrote it for that instrument. Also the frame drum, the big one, I wrote a lot of music for that instrument. I love it. I mean, I try to use hand drums in the orchestral context, which is a beautiful thing, because usually they play all the percussion with sticks. But if you write for hand drums, it's much more flexible sound-wise, and it's not as loud. Usually if somebody is playing with sticks on a snare drum in a classical context, it's even it's pretty loud. But if you play one of these ethnic hand drums, it actually has a much softer and more ethnic sound, and a very nice color, and it's not used that much in a symphony orchestra. And I like to use it here because it relates to the culture here. I was in Istanbul. I was yes. I like the food. I like the culture. It's beautiful. I mean, we had such great meals here with fantastic ingredients, and yes, definitely. I think it's a fantastic. Izmir is a fantastic town, and also the landscape. You know, how it's actually the situation of the city is beautiful with the sea. I have a room that faces the sea, so I see all the boats, and so it's really nice.
Biz yine konsere davetimizi yineliyoruz. Buyurun gelin ekranlarınızın başına. Konser zamanlarını birlikte yaşayalım. Bir sonraki konsere davet programında görüşmek üzere. İzleyip dinlediğiniz her konser mutlu anlarınızın başlangıcı olsun. Hoşça kalın.